Voldemort video game, she has done really well. In Ultimate, I think even solid at Melee too.
That too, by the way. Just like MuteAce.
Racking it up.
I'll never forget those days, man, and how much you get ready to see this one, because like you said, one of the best Aegis players in the tri-state area going up against MuteAce, where this is one of those characters that can potentially really give Peach the work.
Yeah. And we're already out here. MuteAce very aggressive. You know, this is definitely a player who has put in their time with their aggression and their combo routes. We see it consistently from MuteAce every single time he graces us on the big stage right here. I'm really, really happy to see Frozen on the big stage once again, you know. Given a little bit more time to other games lately, but still putting up pretty good results at locals here in New York, so hopefully we can see what she's got.
I saw her kind of like going into this tournament with low expectations for whatever reason. I mean, already had a win on Kabaeasy in the pool to get here.
That's a pretty good win.
Kabaeasy's pretty good.
That's a good player.
So to be going up against MuteAce now is definitely earned. And we'll see how it goes right off the bat. Like you said, MuteAce can get pretty aggressive sometimes. That damage racks up quick, and he does not let up the pressure.
Oh, for sure. And we're seeing that already in spades. Also, I feel like a big thing here is going to be the edge guarding component. As dominant as Pyra and Mythra can be, edge guarding with Turnip can be a really big thorn in the side to most Aegis players, and I think MuteAce has already been on it. And this is definitely a character that MuteAce would know at least a little bit about the matchup for. I mean, some of the biggest players in the world are all repping Aegis right now.
And those are the kind of people that MuteAce is usually playing against. So it just goes to show that the matchup certainly has some practice, but playstyle differs between different players, and sometimes it takes MuteAce a little while to adapt to players. Right there, though, catching that jump in with the dash attack, Mute finally getting off to that first stock, and kind of in the way that I would expect it. Because most of the time when I watch Mute, I see him begin his advantages off of baiting out mistakes from his opponents, and that time baited out that jump from Frozen by feigning a little bit of aggression.
It goes both ways as well. Frozen, at one point, being the best Peach player in New York, don't tell player 4, but literally Frozen has put in her time with Peach as well, so I feel like she is very, very well primed for this matchup, but MuteAce I feel like is just a different breed of Peach player.
Yeah. He plays so differently than any other Peach I've ever seen, and just certainly so polished in a way that sometimes Peaches struggle with. Oh my god.
Wow!
And this is
boxing!
This is insane pressure from Frozen. Taking note of the fact that Mute doesn't really like to mash out of disadvantage. You can take your time when you pressure him in the corner because he mostly just tries to create space when he wants to get out of disadvantage.
I don't know. This has become a more prominent thing in the Peach meta. Peach players have started teabagging to like bait out the float cancels to like kind of force knee-jerk reactions out of players. I see it from player 4 all the time. And I guess MuteAce has started doing it as well.
Of course you would see it from player 4. I'm not even sure that's for any specific bait reason. I think he just likes toying with people's heads.
For real.
And MuteAce, though, toying with the game right now, I mean, you see that he hasn't been particularly explosive, but if you haven't been paying attention, look at how big the lead is. Frozen, this is 3 or 4 minutes into the game and has only just taken the first stock, now down a full clean one.
And I think that comes down to how much respect MuteAce has been giving to Frozen's range. I mean, Pyra has so much mid-range lethality built into her kit, and I feel like MuteAce is using these micro movements with both float and also just kind of start teetering in and out of mid-stage to kind of force Frozen out. Because with this big of a lead, MuteAce really doesn't have to approach. The ball is in Frozen's court.
But the ball being in Frozen's court does actually bode well for her, because I think one thing she's done really well is minimize the damage that MuteAce has been able to get. The defensive play, both in disadvantage and in neutral, has been really, really good. And we haven't seen any major combo starters from MuteAce overall. Oh, but with the Pyra out, this could get to be an even game pretty quick. That was an ambitious down smash where, again, that'll catch an opponent mashing, but MuteAce isn't one to mash out of disadvantage.
It's like calculated aggression, right? Like MuteAce knows how to use his movement really, really well to kite people into swinging first and getting such an explosive amount of damage after it. And Frozen has been taking the bait almost every time, just kind of swinging for these really big ledge traps, kind of just showing her entire hand almost immediately. And MuteAce is able to adapt off it really well.
The patience at the ledge, though, knowing that an aerial usually immediately follows up that turnip. But this could be the end. Mute just hasn't actually closed out. As I was about to say, a commentator's curse, before the words even left my mouth, I had already cast my brutal spell upon Frozen to miss that tech as VGBootCamp does finally finish it out with an edge guard.
Hit her with the Bobby Shmurda, you know, throw it up in the air. Comes down in about like 6 to 7 years, depending on jail time. But,
Yeah,
you
sure.
know,
You know.
the hat comes down eventually.
Eventually. Sorry, I'm not a Shmurda head. Or whatever you would say.
I'm sure you've heard of the hit song Hot Boy.
I have heard of Hot Boy. I have heard of Hot Boy. I'm not lacking in culture that much.
All right, though. Frozen definitely thinking the gears are definitely moving in Faye's head right now as she's deciding how exactly am I going to crack the ever stoic egg that is MuteAce. If there's a player that has good composure, it's MuteAce. We have not seen MuteAce crack a single time in terms of these neutral exchanges, just using this micro movement and such unabashed patience as well to force Frozen's hands every single time.
Yeah, you have to really overwhelm MuteAce to break him mentally because you're not often going to beat him at his own game in terms of a patience game. You kind of just have to throw something at him that he's never seen before. There's the Stitch. But Frozen being on the correct side of that turnip, landing on stage rather than in the blast zone.
And I think we just need to see more aggression out of Frozen. Just start using more fast approaching options or catch MuteAce on landings. I feel like MuteAce has been really playing the clock here in terms of making Frozen overcommit, as I've said previously within this set. And it's making it so difficult for Frozen to find openings here because of how much MuteAce has been respecting Frozen's range.
Right there. Trying to respect MuteAce's range. Frozen was trying to make some distance with the Chroma Dust, but unfortunately that platform got in the way and MuteAce was ready to cover, and that could have been the big opening that he's been hunting for this entire set. But again, Frozen's defense holds strong. It's just time to turn up the heat on the offense because as much as we've said that MuteAce has been sort of just consistently building up damage, it's been the same story for Frozen. We just haven't seen it at the level that Peach is able to output.
I think it's also just getting something started. I feel like MuteAce has been so acutely aware of how every interaction is going to go. Maybe Frozen does not have enough experience in this matchup just yet to know what options are really safe or not so safe. But we've been seeing lots of down smashes come out from Frozen, and MuteAce is ready for it every single time.
I'm ready for that approaching aerial as well. We saw got punished. Even though the forward air didn't come out, it just kind of got to that point where Frozen was like, I'm close enough that I need to throw something out. It gets really scary, right? But MuteAce just doesn't flinch in these situations, and like you said, Frozen just can't really get a big starter going because MuteAce's defense is so hard to break.
Yeah, for real. And Aegis needs that. Aegis needs momentum to really thrive as a character. You know, you see how blindingly fast Pyra is, how explosive her advantage state is, but MuteAce not letting the startup happen every single time, just snuffing out any flame Frozen has of any spark Frozen has to really get something started.
Oh. But that's more than a spark. That's the whole flame with the Flame Nova right there, getting the untechable. And honestly, I think that thing is really underrated. It has very little end lag. And it Frozen! I love the cute combos right there. That is just... again, like I said, I love seeing new stuff. And if it's something that MuteAce isn't ready for, you might be able to get away with it a couple times. He doesn't always adapt sort of snap perfectly the way that most top players do. He's just really, really consistent at building up a game plan and making space for himself.
I'm also noticing just Frozen has never really pulled the trigger on when MuteAce just decides to kind of fade back and float a little bit. I feel like there are very prime opportunities that Frozen could maybe potentially go for like a quick forward air by switching into Pyra or something to really call out these really dangerous floats MuteAce has been doing. But I feel like Frozen is almost too scared to get in that vortex of Peach, even in situations where it might be more beneficial for her.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things you actually see from Spargo a lot is utilizing the Pyra, not just as the Pyra, but like you said, switching into the Pyra, right? Using the speed of Mythra, and then using that momentum into Pyra, doing something like that forward air. Maybe Frozen could find success by kind of trying to overshoot with that.
Exactly. You know, because when you're down this bad, I feel like in these situations where your momentum's being, startled every time, start mixing up. Start doing unorthodox things. Start seeing what sticks to the wall that you're trying to throw things at right now, as that stock doesn't come out of MuteAce just yet.
That's crazy, because I thought that the dash attack on Town and City definitely could have down smash that Frozen's been hunting for. Yep. She does push it to last stock here against MuteAce. Oh my god! The glide tosses from MuteAce. That was insanity. What did I just watch?
That's real? And I told you, Tony is that type of player. MuteAce is that type of player that I literally watched this man practice the most finger-breaking arthritis, carpal tunnel-inducing combos in the hotel room at main stage. MuteAce is about this life. MuteAce is built like that. And those glide tosses into that back air, that's more than a clip. Even Frozen resigned herself after that. She couldn't believe it. Wow, indeed.
Wow.
Wow.
I was talking about trying to show MuteAce something that you've never seen before, but MuteAce says, I got you.
I got some new stuff for you.
Seen before.
Y'all check
like
this
I said,
out.
clean. Yeah, check this out.